A new map has been added to WARNO, and this is completely urban. Well, I would say 85% and 90% urban areas. It is interesting. It is interesting. It doesn't play the same as many other Eugene maps, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. So we're just gonna go over the map. This is a 4v4, by the way, with yours truly on NATO as 8th Mechanized. We're playing together with Holly, Fishy, and Chukov against Resistance, Holtz, Douchebaguette, and Chino. We're just gonna go over the map first, and then yeah, we'll talk about the gameplay itself. But let's look at the design of the map first. So we have a total of 2, 4, 6 zones. So Gulf usually will be in the hands of NATO, Bravo will be in the hands of Red, and you'll basically fight in this field here in order to get to the enemy zone, or to the opponent's zone. Foxtrot will be firmly in the control of NATO, Charlie firmly in the control of Warsaw, and then Echo will be NATO, Delta will be Warsaw, and you'll basically fight across this open field. So that is kind of the simplification of it. But there's a giant amount of urban space all over this place. There's so many buildings that you can fight over. And we have now done a couple of games, and they can actually be really, really important. Because let's say the opponent is pushing over this open field. If you have like ATGMs here, recon, manpads, it can be such a strong point that can support both the left and the right. Speaking of left, many more urban areas. It's really massive. Really nice neighborhoods over here that you can actually get into with your infantry. But there's also many high-rises. There's many of these big apartment complexes that you can get into, garrison it with ATGMs, you know, recon, manpads, all that. And it really does cause a lot of chaos. Especially here. There's quite a high concentration of those buildings. And having Conquerors or Metis teams or Dragon teams in those buildings, they can basically cover this entire open area. It's really interesting. Now the flanks are not to be forgotten. We have a kind of a swamp area on the left side here. They have yet to, you know, move out and dry this area up to build more buildings. And there's also a right side open field, which I am taking. Because I like to flank, you know, I like to kind of explore the non-urban areas as well on urban maps. Because mainly the focus is put on the urban areas and people forget completely about the flanks. So we're gonna go there and see what kind of damage we can do. But it is nice that Eugene is working on more maps and bringing out some urban maps. You know, they might tweak the zones here and there a little bit. Maybe they'll put like another zone in the middle that is, you know, that can be shared between the two sides. Or they put, you know, they might enlarge these zones, change it up a little bit, because right now they're just a square, as you can see. And you know, this one is basically a square. This is basically a square as well. Well, it's a rectangle with like, you know, some weird corners. But what I'm trying to say is that usually we'll tweak these zone shapes and sizes accordingly. What might also be cool is this orientation, where you have an open field here to go here, although the other team will have a swamp area, but there's still roads leading in and out of that. So I think they do that with map orientation in mind, so that they can do something like this. Diagonally would also be really interesting, perhaps for destruction. But yeah, all in all, really interesting map. We're gonna speed it up, go to the start of it, and we're gonna focus on the gameplay, but I'm also going to obviously focus occasionally on the map itself, because that is really what this one is about. Once again, a huge shout out to all the patrons that are supporting the channel. I really do appreciate each and every one of you. Also the YouTube members, you guys are the silent supporters, because I don't get an email. Occasionally I just check it to see if anyone new joined, and then I'm like all of a sudden pleasantly surprised with you guys' generosity here. So we're opening up with an air fight. Mirage from Holly is baiting a MiG-23 that is now being engaged by a Phantom. Phantom tries to get it, hits it once with a missile, and then gets it with the gun. That is actually a good bait by Holly here. Holly does now get engaged by 2 MiG-29s, AA variants, but they actually are not able to kill it. These are beautiful looking planes by the way. The camo is gorgeous on this. Really fits the map in this case. So on the left side here, my plan was to just push hard against our opponent, Holtz in this case, with Sniper and LRS. This actually brings a total to 2 M14s, an M249, and an M24 sniper, so we have a lot of ranged weapons here that are doing a ton of damage. Now we are getting engaged by a 100mm AT gun that actually managed to destroy that sniper team. Definitely hurts, but we still have a group on the left side here. Sniper and an LRS squad here. The Wombo combo does a ton of damage to pretty much anything. We're just keeping those guys there to hold. We also do lose the LRS squad. That AT weapon is just deadly. Really not fun to deal against or deal with. Really good shot by our M1A1. I'm gonna try to zoom in a bit more. And with a second shot, we do destroy the Conqueror's team there. So all in all, good start here in the flank. Now my plan basically was to get infantry, the flank around here, hold this road, and then hit this area to help my teammate over there to push all the way back here. So that's basically our plan here. We have a couple infantry units. We have an M1A1 that is just out in the open field, giving some, fire support down there into the town, but we do get hit by Conquerors, and that basically makes us decide to fall back here. We also have a Rangers and a mech rifle. We're now moving them up to get into a new position there, and we have now a lot of anti-air. We have 2 Ihawks that we just called in that we're going to unload on the front line. Let's go into neutral mode and see what the rest of the map, how that is looking. Right side, really not much, but huge amount of fights here between our teammates and the enemy. And it is just absolutely going crazy here. Now, the thing about churches, by the way, is that they are really good for recon, but if you have units in them, they can be fired at from anywhere, because your unit is actually elevated to the top of, the tower here. So these guys are getting absolutely hammered. So it is a really good strong point, but you gotta be strategic about it. If there's a lot of ranged units there, you probably don't want to put close range infantry in there. Maybe, put in like 5 AT-GM squads, or Metis squads, or, Dragon squads in there. Fire 1 salvo with all of them and then maybe get out of the building. That is always a fun strategy you could try out. Su-24 coming in for a bombing run on Fishy's Jaeger, Jaeger Aufklärer. The napalm is gonna do quite a bit of damage here. But it looks like they might get out. Spetsnaz here are gonna do quite a bit of damage here as well with the RPO. Now going back to the left side here, we did get cut off here a little bit. There's a Conquerors with a supply truck. We actually managed to destroy the supply truck, which is huge. And over here there's a T-64, a couple of infantry units, Conqueror's vehicle, and an Akula, out of all things. So we're taking it a little bit slower here. We are getting engaged. Our infantry is unfortunately not hidden. So that's taken quite a few hits there. Ooh, we managed to unload that mech rifle right on time before getting absolutely destroyed by AT-GMs. Now we're going to try to clean up this mess a little bit here. So the reinforcements that we're calling in, first of all more AA and then more AT-GMs. The right side has kind of calmed down. Not really much happening between Fishy and Resistance at the moment. They did have a big skirmish over there. But Fishy's now repairing all of his units, which is always a good idea. And he is doing an artillery strike on a Spetsnaz. I kind of want to see how much damage these guys are going to do. The 107mm that fire really, really quick. And there are only 80 points. Let's see how they do here. So almost full HP Spetsnaz. And that is a really wide arc. Ooh. Wow, that one tap the Spetsnaz OP. Yeah, that does quite a bit of damage. Okay. Three hits, 3 kills. Basically a kill with every kind of direct hit on the building complex, it seems. That's pretty good. I mean, that's really not bad. So more infantry is being called in. More mech rifles. We're both 8th mechanized, by the way. Oh, the point blank PVADs. Oh man, wow, that actually does a huge amount of damage. Together with the mortar, and they're dead. Yep, that guy's gone. So on the left side here, we have our mech rifles in the building. We are getting burrito right now, which is gonna hurt more than you know. Not only is it gonna kill a couple units, it's going to remove the buildings as well. And that is not good news. Yeah, as you can see, my Abrams is now between a rock and a hard place. I tried to move him out of the burrito, but it moved into 2 tanks. So Holtz is doing a good thing here. Keeps his distance, and just uses, you know, his good cannon, 17 AP, good accuracy, and 21 AP ATGMs to his advantage there. We're just building up though. We're getting a couple of tanks ourselves. We're just gonna hold and try to clean up this before we do anything else. The Chukov's tanks are helping at this moment. He's got an HA and the regular M1A1. Getting some nice shots on the Washutsen. That is actually going to help big time. And the Motschutsen there. There you go. And one thing he likes doing is smoke in front of his tanks, because it enables him to basically have a safe zone to move in and out of. Definitely a good strat. I don't use it personally, because it kind of works both ways, and I usually rely on a lot of fire support for my pushes. So cutting the line of sight of my fire support units usually isn't the way I would normally play it. I like to selectively blind the enemy positions instead. So we have 2 M60s over there, 1 M1A1 coming in, bunch of supplies already bought and pre-bought, so that we are sure to never run out. And we're gonna soon do a push. The Chukovs moves in as command, putting us up to +2. We were actually losing, technically, for quite some time. Quite a aggressive push here. Ooh, that was a side shot by the Motschutsen. Motschutsen are gonna get absolutely demolished. But at least we got that going for ourselves. And now he's gonna move back into the security of a smoke, which is definitely a good idea. Couple of hits here, wow, 3 hits from 2 Metis and 1 Conkers. This M1A1 is getting hammered. Another hit, another one. There we go. Now they can repair at the Hammett truck. At this point, I move in my 3 tanks as well. And we start engaging some of these units in the high rises. We are getting engaged by the Conkers, which is very bad. And with the T-64 here. I'm trying to kind of, you know, we're kind of like trying to find that edge of effective versus dangerous. So we're deciding to fall back at this point. Yeah, this T-64 here is definitely a big issue. We do have a TOW-2 over there that is doing a ton of damage on him. 2 hits, just like that. We have another one firing at this guy. And it does not disappoint. It really does not. Another one being fired at, but that's gonna smoke. But the good thing is, that smoke only lasts 20 seconds. Seaplane being called in. I believe he did manage to destroy one of my Ihawks, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he did, because we did not micro that guy. So MiG-25 BM being the best seaplane in the game definitely hurts. We do get a good hit on him, but we are not able to finish it. Over here, since we didn't really see what they were firing at us with, we get 2 recon units to move up front. 2 LRS units. Really good units to have. Now let's just quickly go back to the right side. There's quite a lot going on here. They got the Napalm MLRS absolutely demolishing anything over here. BM21 there. Ooh, that Mi-24K just got absolutely destroyed by the Chaparral. 1 hit, 1 kill. Is it going to be able to hit the heli? Yes, it does. Take it out. It did. That was actually good, because I am pretty sure they did nerf the range on helicopters slightly. But the accuracy is still decent. Now on the right side, Ollie is trying to push up a little bit, but it's kind of a losing battle on the right side. There is no real conquest zones either, and I think if you're up against the, KDA, which has a lot of range units, has the 5th Blindé, that's gonna be a rough one. So on the left side we have our LRS finally up on the front line. So our tow units are going at it. That one missed unfortunately, but we're trying to do as much damage as we can. This Buratino once again hating the guts out of our position here. Going for yet another run. Very sad. We are getting countered by the Acacias. That is unfortunately going to destroy one of our mortars. But hey, you gotta live with a little bit of risk, huh? Over here, we're doing a smoke attack. That smoke is actually put down by our mortars. And we're gonna move the fire team AT4s in here to try to forcefully clear that out. And we have an M60 over there. And we have a couple of AT-GM squads over here. Unfortunately, they are out of ammo though. But more Rangers are being called in. AT4s doing their best to try to catch up with the T-64. M60 landing a nice hit. He's definitely not going to hold up against that. But we can't keep this up. We need our AT4 units. And there they are. Beautiful side shots there. And another one. And he's gone. M60 there. Barely getting hits. Or barely survives 2 misses by the Conquerors. And actually manages to get a good hit on that T-64. What a Chad. But yeah, unfortunately, you can only have that much luck. But that was an example of a good successful push there. We cleared up that forest at least of the 2 tanks. And now we can safely, or quote-unquote safely, move to the right side. But upon seeing the BMDs and all the AT-GMs unload, we decide to just fall back a little bit and not do anything too crazy. Now over here, Ollie is now helping Fishy out a little bit because the right side is mainly going to be a defensive battle by the looks of it. So he is moving some Sapeurs. These guys got a satchel charge, so they're going to clean up those buildings as soon as they encounter anything. And over here, we're basically doing the same thing again. One of our Rangers did get absolutely annihilated by the GRU there. But the other 2 luckily do survive. Barely. We almost lost another one there. A10 came in, didn't do anything. Unfortunately, we lost targets on everything and we got absolutely annihilated by MiG-29s. And now also Buratino. That is going to delete the Stinger team. I don't know if that Stinger team deserved all of that. So Chukov right now is just repairing all of his units. There's a big old supply truck here, 2,500 supplies. Definitely what you want to do in a situation like this. You want to have plenty of supply trucks to quickly fix everything you have. Otherwise you're gonna hurt. You're gonna be hurting. So yeah, 25 minutes, it's a draw situation at this moment. We're all kind of still trying to figure out how to play this map and this game. But as you can see, there's an area that is not being used at all. Which, you know, arguably could give a lot of advantages. There is, for example, a high-rise right here. Which would make you control this side of the zone. If you put some AT-GMs there. Actually, AT-GMs will reach... Wow. AT-GMs will reach really far. All the way to here is only 2,000. You have 2,800 meters range with some AT-GM units. So you could reach almost everything, which is insane. Yeah, that range is actually nuts. I have to try that out. This building here could be clutch. Could come in clutch. Oh my god, what was that? Oh, that was a MiG-27 laser guided bomber. Now we have an Su-22 napalm bomber coming in. Gonna do a lot of damage. My AA is kind of on the low end here in terms of quality. Or quantity, I should say. And quality is also not the best, to be honest. We got Chaparrals, Manpads, Eyehawks, and Vulcans. They're good if the enemy flies straight over you. And if the Eyehawks hit. So here we go, tanks being put out in the open again to try to cut off one of these roads. That is actually working really nicely. Bolt's SPWs are now blocked. I don't know for how long they're going to be blocked. Doesn't look like for very long. Oh, He's moving back. Okay, Holtz did manage to unload. They are in a tough situation right now. He's also moving up his mech rifles. In the meantime, I'm still trying to hold this line down. We got a TOW2 in the building here. That is actually managing to push these tanks back, which is wonderful. We turn on the IHawk, we get a nice hit, and we actually manage to destroy that. So at least we got that plane taken out. Oh my god, no, not the BM-20, what is it? Oh, it's the Jurgen actually. Yikes. Yeah, this is painful. You just gotta smile and wave at this point, and just take the hits. Another laser guided bomber coming in. Arguably one of the best ones in the game in terms of HE power. It did not... I don't think it dropped, and we actually managed to destroy it. That was good. We finally got rid of that plane. That was being a real problem. And with that, actually, La Douche Baguette decides to push back his commands because there's now mech rifles here. And that puts us to +4, and we actually managed to destroy it. Ooh, that was a good kill here. Milans, so we have kind of run out of TOW2, so what I do is just line up some Par Milan ones. These are really cheap AT gems, 17 AP, you know, 2450 meters range, only 45% accuracy. But they're not bad. They're pretty good if you just want to line up an area with AT gems and shoot one into outer space. It's actually, yeah, for that it's a really good idea. Now right side is just not looking fun for Fishy or for Holly. They're just fighting in a burning town. These guys are champions for still being, you know, on fire, yet doing their job like champions. So right side, definitely I don't see this place as a point of interest, mainly because it's kind of really, it's a bottleneck. It's a bottleneck. It's easy to defend if you're, well, from either side really. There's not many buildings, but I think it's easier actually for a red team to defend because you have a really tight bottleneck here. But yeah, I mean, that's the point, right? It's one of those areas that is going to cost you a lot if you do decide to push through there. But right now, we're just going all the way through. Decide to push up into basically their spawn at this point. That's a nice street, look at that. Yeah, a little picnic table there. You know, garage. How do you even get in here? Alright, so there's a road. Okay, so you're driving through here. That's how you get to that house. That's how you drive out. It's gonna be a tight turn to go right. Bit of could be improved a little bit. But anyways, we're gonna be driving in there straight away. We got mech rifles going in. We just like pushing, okay? So we just keep pushing. We got our mech rifles up there. We're going to try to hold the line down, and we actually have units up on the front line here. We have an M1A1, M60, and an M901 ATV, or ITV, to do some clappage. Speaking of, we're attack moving with the M1A1 now, but we immediately get intercepted by the Mi-24 VP. I was hoping for it to not spot us, but unfortunately it does, and we get hit quite badly there. So we do fall back immediately, and just try to hold that down. Now right side we have once again a command in the zone, putting us at, well, pushing us up to +6 instead of +4. And the Buratino once again ruining our hopes and dreams But let's talk about the map a little bit. It's an interesting one. It's beautiful to look at, for sure. But there's a but. I think for fictional maps, it is quite easy to artificially create possible interesting, to create interesting strategies. There's one, like here, it's an open area where you can like flank all the way, you know, and get into the sides of the enemy position there. On the right side, not so much, but it is still an option. It could be a risky one, could cost you a lot, but that's fine. So you have some interesting options on the flanks. In the city, there is this area that is really underused in the 3 games I've done, so I've only done 3. But it is really interesting because you could use these to also cut off some of these roads leading to the next zone, or yes, separating these areas. That is cool. But I feel like, I don't know, maybe I just need to play it a bit more. But it's in general, it's an interesting map for sure. I do like other maps more because it has hills and, you know, big forests and a little bit more variety to the terrain, which introduces more strategies. But in general, the map is solid. So definitely, yeah, definitely a decent map, and I do like that they're going for giant urban areas. But we did lose the command on the right side once again, unfortunately, putting us down to a meager +4. Unbelievable. But we are pushing really aggressively on this side here. Like, I am, no joke, pushing unnecessarily aggressively. We're practically in their spawn at this point. The walkshoots in here are getting absolutely hammered by everything, including an ATGM Apache that is doing the Lord's work right now. And a bunch of Abrams. I do have to try out the ATGM Apache. It basically only has Hellfires. But it could be really useful if the enemy has a lot of tanks and you just need the numbers there. But yeah, we're just pushing. It is not necessarily push, but it is fun to push. And that's what we do. Good unit composition here by Chukov. Nice supplies in the back here. You know, moving them back when they're empty. Going and selling them if you don't have a fob. And calling in new ones to replace. We're doing all around a good job there. Spetsnaz GRU, they get some good shots on our Abrams. But upon seeing 3 T-55s, we decide to get the hell out of there. Because we're not going to be fighting against that. Even though they are only T-55s. The M60 is basically gonna, yeah, almost got one shot. And the M1A1 is really not ready for this. So at this point, I decided to just move 3 Cobras over and try to get the, try to get the enemy backlines here. But who would have guessed? 2 Strellas and 2 Biryusas spawned in and absolutely annihilate all of my units. And yeah. That didn't really go well for us, did it? Right side has been completely captured though, putting us up to +8. Nice supply situation here. UH-60s coming in. 1,000 supplies. And the trucks having 500, so you can actually resupply these trucks at the helis. But if your supply truck has the same amount of supplies or more than a supply heli, it actually cannot supply at that heli. So that's one thing to remember. But it's quite important to think about it when you put supply helis in your battle groups, if you already have a lot of supply trucks. Because usually I use them to resupply the supply trucks and then fly the helis back to the fob. It's important to, remember that they need to have more supplies than the trucks. But yeah, really good game. I actually went negative. But that's fine. Literally, I think the second game we did. But we tried some fun things and it actually paid off really, really well. Yeah, the map is fun. The map is for sure fun, really interesting. Not my favorite, but still really interesting to play. I think people are gonna have a ton of fun on it, especially when they tweak it a little bit with, you know, the zones and maybe put a destruction variant of it, maybe turn it 90 degrees, clockwise or counterclockwise. Yeah, we'll just see how this goes. It's really nice to see that Eugen is working on new maps though. With that said, I hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you guys back soon. Take care.